Good morning. My name is Scott Rutledge, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's morning call, full version for Red Roll Access. So second day of the second quarter. Futures are down about 5-6 handles after yesterday's pretty volatile day. You know, first day of the quarter, you never really know what's going to go on. Early yesterday, they hit most sectors, most names, and took out some stops, and then later kind of grinded back to close, all flows. Sometimes, if you're, I guess, caught up, that could be like a false sense of security, meaning like, oh, market came back up, new funds, et cetera, we're still okay, or it's a way to do some distribution for lower prices. At this point, I'm not sure, but there's definitely, at least for some things that we'll go over, some things could be a little bit in pain today. If you go to the chart of the S&P cash, this is what we have to work with, okay? First of all, this was the momentum trend that broke. Here's when we came right back into resistance, so it made some sense to lighten up into that spot. And then yesterday, we did come down and tested, 2344. So for today, we'll see, do we hold above 2344 and hold above the 50-day or not? I kind of think it's going to try and hold it today and come a little bit off lows, but, we'll figure that out as it comes. This is, again, 2344, here's the 50-day. Last time we were at the 50-day, we held it, okay? First time you usually do, especially if you haven't seen it in a while, so we'll see what happens here. We might have an inside day where it holds above and tries to go green, we shall see. Problem for the market yesterday was the small caps. Not the biggest problem, considering look where it rallied into, but it didn't rally back like most things. So at least that gave some guys clues not to be in the IWM. We had them actually as a short over the weekend. I covered yesterday. I wish I had some of it on. Well, for today, this is your pivot. It's actually opening below it. If it stays below 135.60, your next spot is down here. If it starts to get down here, chances are, the bears will start growling a little bit. It did have a decent move from, that low that was put in. But so this isn't the end of the world, but it's got to hold right around here in order to look like it's at all decent. Look at this. Look at the size of this wide range bar. Obviously, yesterday wasn't as big, but we shall see if in 2 days gets it like that. So again, 135.60. I guess if it comes down towards this 135 level, you could try it and see if it reclaims it, but or just watch it for clues. If you look at the XLF bounced back better, right? What do I mean by bounce back better? It actually came down to the spot and bounced off it. We talked about how this is at resistance. That's why I sold my Bank of America near 24, which we'll get into. So for the banks, we'll see, does the XLF hold 2340-ish? Okay, the banks are off a little bit this morning. If this doesn't hold this 2340-ish, chances are, the Russell and the what's it called and the banks will be telling us that perhaps, we might have more downside in the second quarter. Remember I went over this on Fast Money, left shoulder, head, and I said we can get some kind of bounce into moving averages, but if it creates a right shoulder and acts lethargic, this would be a bad sign overall for the second quarter. But anyway, we shall see. Bank of America, I'm not in, but it came back yesterday and it was downgraded today by Citi. So I guess see how Bank of America handles 2308. I don't think many of you guys are in this one because I'm not in it. But anyway, we did get a nice bounce off support into the moving averages, which was the target. So sometimes it's good to take it off into targets. And now for today and the market, see if it holds this 2308. You might want to look at Goldman also. Goldman's been the weaker one. Here is that pivot low that we bought last week. Came back into that 232 area, which we said would be resistance, and didn't even get to the 21-day. So now see if Goldman holds yesterday's low also. All in all, though, not really a very feisty bounce. So this low yesterday is 225.57. What's it called? The energy names, which we're on alert to see if they act better in the second quarter, because sometimes things change in the second quarter. Held at 69. Kind of looks like, looked like the S&P and the banks yesterday with that held support and bounced back. And now we'll see if that continues. This low here is 69.08. This downtrend comes in like this. In order for it to be even in the game to potentially start a new trend, I would think it's got to hold this. Some are saying you might have like a, inverse head and shoulders pattern, coming in here. If that's the case, this could be the right shoulder. And then if money wants to rotate and, I don't know, I guess if the dollar wants to come down and commodities want to go up, this would be, that pattern there, but still has a lot to prove. So this is, this is 69.08, yesterday's low. Let me see what the IBBs did real quick yesterday. Actually back below the 8 and 21 days. So this is, in a void on a momentum technical term, and now you got to see if it holds the 50-day. All right, so now let's get into some stocks. All right, first, I guess let's talk about some things that we're in. I got stopped out of a few names yesterday, and then I bought some back on the bounce, and now today we're dealing with a bunch of downgrades. Let's get into the first one, Google. Google, I thought, would be playing catch-up, considering that tech was strong. Tesla breaking out, Amazon breaking out. Closed strong yesterday, looking good. Well, today BMO downgraded it. This is what I'm going to do, okay? First of all, I did take it home yesterday thinking, hey, you know what, it closed strong. Why not? Maybe we get a little follow-through. Well, that's not the case. So really, if you want to give it some room, this low here is 845. I would say, just if whatever you have, if you have a tier 1, give it to 845. If it breaks this 845, you know what, just get out of the way. What I did already this morning is I bought a little bit, just a little, okay, right around the 850-ish. And what I'll also do is I'll wait for it to put in a 15, 30-minute low, and meaning like just say it opens up at 847, rallies to 850, 851, and then futures go down and it holds. Maybe you buy versus that 847 low, and then all of a sudden later in the day it starts to break it. Just use whatever that 15, 30-minute low is as a stop. I also bought some calls for earnings. I'm just going to sitting them, and earnings are a long way away. We're a whole month, so we'll see. But again, if the market starts to falter, this and that, this one is not leading right now, ever since the YouTube ad news. So we'll see. Let's also talk about NVIDIA, I guess, since we're talking about things that we might be stuck in. NVIDIA. All right, guys. So, this was obviously a great name last year. It's given us some trades recently. This was your red dog reversal right there. Here was another one. So if you hold things, like we try and do, like just pure day trading hasn't worked in a while. So you've had to be in some. So I am in some. It was still above the 8 and 21 days. So you really didn't have much of a reason to be flatted unless you just play for breakouts. And there was no breakout above this 110, okay, yet. So I am in some. It was downgraded by Pac Crest. So I guess the real only point of reference we have here is right there. This is 103.58, which right now it's looking like 104.5, so it's $1 lower. So what I did is already just like kind of like Google, I was in only tier 1, but still down $3. Tier 1 sucks. Excuse my French. So I bought a little bit, and now I'm going to wait to see the first 15, 30 minutes. So just say it opens, goes down to 104, comes up to 104.50, and hangs there and shows a little relative strength. Maybe I buy at 104.50, see if it rallies back up, trade around it, but then if it goes to 104.50 and I buy it, can't go anywhere, breaks 104, I'm probably just going to be out. And, it happens. So I'll just have to, manage the situation, and I just, downgrades happen, and a trade could potentially change. So if you're in there anticipating and you're early, I guess not saying this was really early because it was a pocket pivot, whatever, you have to manage it. Hopefully, it opens down 3.5 and, rallies back to only down $1.50. That would make it easier. If it opens down 3.5 and just quickly whooshes down 5, you know what? It's not going to be a fun day in NVIDIA land. Elsewhere, Amazon, it still acts well. The BMO analyst put a 1,200 target on that. This broke out around up here. Bit of a volatile day yesterday, but not really. Here is 885 is your new support. It's extended, so I wouldn't just be buying Amazon up here, even though it's strong. And then this is the high. So 893 to 885, $8 range. See if it stays in there. But if the market starts to come in, that's your pivot. I wouldn't try and be a cute short here. I think yesterday a lot of guys tried a cute short and they got hurt later in the day. So if you're still shorted, just take care. Here's their 893.49 pivot. Netflix was downgraded yesterday, and actually, that went positive for a second. I'd love to see if NVIDIA or Google can go positive for a second. Anyway, here's yesterday's low, 145.74. We'll see if that holds or not. The 21 days below. If it gets below this and stays below, just get out of the way and wait and see what's next. It's come a long way from, the channel low, which was right here. But I think if this holds this, the prior breakout, maybe it hangs in there, and that would be better for the market. If it starts to break back in the base, probably signal that not a lot of things could break out. Facebook, little bottom tail yesterday in the 8-day, nice little bull flag. So if anything can go green today and continue, maybe Facebook can. So use that as a barometer. I'm not in Facebook. It's down a little bit. I might look at it if I'm not too distracted everywhere else with all the things that are in the hole right now. But it also, the 21-day is what's been holding. That's been the trend. So 8 days, the strong side of it. The 21-day has been what's been, the last time it came down, which was that, remember that Monday low. So we'll see. Tesla been, rock star. That was a great trade for us. Let's talk on the more positive side. Tesla's made a lot of people a lot of money this year. Cleared this descending channel here, cleared this 147, cleared this. It's not giving you upside follow through today, which some of us are still in there. I'm in that call spread that I'm just going to sit in until it expires. The two, bought we did all right with that. Could have been better if we didn't create a spread, but whatever. We bought the 260s at 10, sold the 280s at 12, so not too bad. And then we were involved in the stock again once it broke out above this yesterday. So we'll see if it could hold in here and then maybe try and push above 299. Just don't get too aggressive if it doesn't happen on the first time. The monthly chart obviously is what we're keying off of to get some more upside, which is right here. So sometimes it needs to kind of sit above it. If it wants to sit above it, that's right there. So for this to stay good and not be like a breakout failure, you would expect that it doesn't get back below this 291-ish area, like maybe 287 to 291. So that's Tesla. Apple, another signal or something that we could be watching to see how strong tech is or if tech changes. You have this nice little bull type flag in Apple. It came off lows yesterday, 2 dojis, because it's not sure what it wants to do. I am long some Apple also. If it were to break and close below 143, I'll get out. I'm hoping today could help me, where it opens down 30, 40 cents and comes up and maybe tries to show some relative strength and some safety and goes. But if it breaks this, I guess I have to get out of the way. That means I'm really having not such a great day, but we shall see. I was looking at the charts of the metals and the miners and the TLTs, and they are giving some signs that maybe the market, could be in for a little bit more downside. Why? You look at the TLTs here, the bonds, and it held higher, and it's coming into this crucial area. If the TLTs break above this, it could at least get up to the 200-day, and that would probably mean the banks are under some pressure. Here was your gap up here, then it held and went sideways, and now looks like it could take this out. So if you're someone who's trading the TLTs to the long side, gets above 122 and stays above it, you have a good trade there. Then you look at the GLD that turned up yesterday, even with the market weaker. So here is where it ignited from the last Fed day, turned up, and now if it were to get above this 120 and stay above it, could continue higher, I guess. And then the GDX, which is in that box, held it yesterday, has a bunch of moving averages here. I might even look at this. If it starts to get above this 23.50, I might buy it just for a trade to have a little bit on the other side of the trade and get away from some of the names that were so good to us last quarter, but might change. Some of you guys probably trade the what is it, JNUG? I haven't traded this in so long. Yeah, the JNUG. That's such a no. I would just stay away from that. But anyway, I think that's the ETF that could have a move up to 850. What is that? Yeah, it's at 680 if it breaks above there and the miners get into play. And then there's your 200-day, which is up at 10. Some of you guys play this for the juice. And that's really it. Today, going to come in, going to try and manage some positions, going to try and keep even keel. Can NVIDIA make a low in the first 15, 30 minutes and trade off in, and we could manage the trade, or do we get stopped out? And the same thing for Google. As far as some of the other ones that aren't in such pressure, we'll see what happens with the market. Yesterday we came back to green. I don't know if that's a false sense of security or means that we could try it again. We have yesterday's lows to trade against, and we'll see. If today, it's just a weekday across the board with no bounce, I'll probably be back to 0 equity positions, back to tactical, and then more in wait and see mode, because if the market can't rally the first 2 days of a new quarter when you have new funds and new quarterly funds, shows you a little bit of its hand that it could be that week, or at least until earnings come out and we start to get some more clarity. So I'll try and tweet to you guys and tell you what I'm doing. Hopefully you're on the VTF. You could see it live, because it's going to be probably a little busy for me to just be, all on all different mediums. But we shall see. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you to recap. Bye-bye.